It's time for a little comedy, a little content, and a lot of conversation. It's the Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube. And now here's your host, Geno Jones.
Hello, everybody. What's happening? It's time for a brand new show. Geno's on your TV, on your smartphone or your tablet, whatever you're watching me on, smart TV. It's time for the Geno Jones Daily Variety Show, Monday through Friday. I do it right here, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 if you're in Chicago, maybe, or St. Louis or Houston, 3:30 out on the West Coast, out there in Los Angeles, the Bay Area, Seattle, Portland. The Geno Jones Show brought to you today by my friends at Lockwood Outdoor Advertising, converting cars into cash. Beautiful outdoor digital billboard. As a matter of fact, we're all about supporting black businesses right here on the Geno Jones Show in this era of the racial reckoning. And everybody's talking about how we can be better allies. So many people, so many of our white brothers and sisters are talking about we want to be better allies. Geno, we're not, it's not enough to be not racist. How can we be anti-racist? How can we help create not just equality, but equity? Well, good place to start is supporting black businesses, okay? So it's LockwoodOutdoor.com if you're interested in the outdoor advertising world, want to get your company, your goods, your products and service promoted to many here in the Carolinas. This is a huge tourist destination. Or if you have a business that's digital online, you know what? People can shop. This is a whole new market you could attract. So outdoor, that's LockwoodOutdoor.com. LockwoodOutdoor.com. So let's get right into it today on this Wednesday hump day. So there's a government intelligence agency report that came out today, this afternoon, as a matter of fact, that said racially and ethnically and white militia motivated violence is the most lethal threat to America. I'll say it again. This was a government issued report by all of our intelligence agencies, the CIA, the NSA, you know, all those alphabets, all those different intelligence agencies released this report that the biggest threat to the homeland, the biggest domestic terror threat, it's not Al-Qaeda, it's not ISIS, you know, it's not any Muslim group, or it's not Black Lives Matter or Antifa or the Bloods or the Crips or the Gangster Disciples or none of that, all right? This was a report issued today and this is not the first report like that. A government intelligence or a combination of all of your government intelligence agencies said that racially and ethnically and white militia motivated violence is the most lethal domestic threat that the U.S. faces. Now, on that note, 8 women, 6 of them who were Asians, were killed in the Atlanta area yesterday. You've probably heard about this story. As a matter of fact, they were killed in the Atlanta area at 3 different spas. Now, the killer was captured, but he wasn't killed. The police didn't shoot and kill him, even though he had murdered, shot, and killed 8 women, 6 who were Asian. And we are in an era where we've seen such a huge spike in anti-Asian hate, crime, violence. 6 of these women who were killed were Asian. So they caught and captured the killer. No incident, no shots fired, no knee on the neck for 8 minutes no knee on the neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds, no chokehold. They didn't shoot him while he was sleeping in his bed. I know, I digress. I had to throw that in there. Because here's somebody that you knew was violent, had just murdered, killed 8 people. Caught him like an hour and a half later. 2 hours later, something like that. Maybe I think they caught him like an hour and a half away from Metro Atlanta. No shots fired. They didn't shoot him. They didn't tase him. Nothing like that. So according to the police, the alleged killer, the alleged murderer, actually, that's a legal term. Because listen, the dude confessed to the police. He said, I did it, but wait until you hear the excuse that he gave. He said that he has a sex addiction and that he was trying to eliminate the temptation. Now, he could have stayed his ass home. You want to eliminate the temptation. I'm sure those 8 families said, well, if you wanted to eliminate the temptation, why eliminate our family members? Eliminate yourself. As harsh as that might sound, it's no harsher than murdering 8 innocent people. But I digress. There's a poem, there's a well-known poem by a German pastor. And it says, they first, I'm paraphrasing, they first came for me, or they first came for. So I'm going to kind of paraphrase it. It said, first they came for the socialists. That's what it is. First they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the unionists, and I did not speak out because, well, I was not a unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one to speak for me. So the lesson in that is that when we see our Asian brothers and sisters or our black trans sisters and brothers or members of the LGBTQ community, when we see misogyny and sexism and violence against women, when we see hate, racially, ethnically motivated violence, gender hate in any form, when racism manifests its ugly, evil, sadistic, demonic, just when we see that in any form, we need to not just to speak out, but to do everything that we can in our power to eliminate it, to end it. All of us, including those who consider themselves or who society deems because of their skin pigmentation as white Americans. Because white nationalism and white supremacy, once again, this whole concept, whiteness, and that's this whole, whiteness is a powerful drug. They talk about heroin and cocaine and crystal meth and opioids, fentanyl. No, the most dangerous drug is racism and this concept of whiteness. It is a mighty powerful and dangerous drug. Because it's amazing, because here in America, even many who consider themselves white now were not considered white when they first got to America. They were considered more like black words. They were really looked at as like N-words. Germans, the Irish, Italians, those from Poland, those from Eastern European countries, the Chinese. When they first arrived to America, they were discriminated against. There were anti-immigration laws. You can go back and look at the books in the 1800s, around 1850s, 1840s, 1850s, 1860s. Literally, there were anti-immigration laws specifically that spoke out about not wanting the Chinese or Irish or Italians or Jewish or German immigrants coming to America. And now many of those people have now assimilated and now are considered or consider themselves part of this made-up construct, this whole made-up state of mind being called whiteness, which was made up to oppress people, to oppress them from an ethnic standpoint, to really to maintain power and control, economic control and political control, and control in terms of determining what images were promoted to, in terms of determining the type of culture, art, music, literature, art textbooks, all is rooted in this made-up concept, construct, bullshit of whiteness. And now it is getting more and more dangerous. Now, even the federal government has released a report saying that racially and ethnically white militia-motivated violence, i.e., white nationalism, white supremacy, there's nothing supreme about this whole concept of whiteness, but that's the term that we use. This racially and ethnically and white militia motivated violence, which is rooted in this ideology of white nationalism and white supremacy, and this whiteness being superior, that those who consider themselves a part of this whiteness are superior to any other people of color, or just any other group who may be considered white that they look down on, i.e. Jews, Asian community, African Americans, people of color, Afro-Latinos. Anyone that doesn't look and share this white Christian ideology. And the whole thing about Christianity, which is a whole nother conversation. Because especially here, I'm here in the Carolinas, they call them evangelicals, white evangelicals, white Southern evangelicals who consider themselves Christians. Their definition of Christians, which in too many cases is rooted in white supremacy, white nationalism. Remember the Ku Klux Klan burning crosses and considered themselves white Christians, a very perverted version of Christianity. What would they think if they really knew that Christianity was practiced on the continent of Africa centuries before it got here? They really, not only did they get the remix version, they got the remix version and they remixed it again and remixed hatred and bigotry and oppression and murder and lynching, and then tried to justify it, tried to sanitize it, whitewash it through the filter of Christianity. How perverted is that you pervert a religion that at its core is supposed to be about loving thy neighbor and helping those, the least of these, and use it to justify oppressing, murdering, lynching, and raping an entire group of people for your benefit and pleasure and perverted ideology or point of view in terms of how you viewed yourself. So I started off the show with that poem because I think it's so important that, yeah, they came for the socialists. Listen, they literally came for people of African descent 402 years ago. They came for them, the shores of West Africa, and imported millions of Africans west, not just to America, but the Caribbean, to South America, to Brazil, where 5 million Africans, the country that received the most Africans in the transatlantic slave trade was not America, Oh, not even close. No, it was Brazil. Brazil received 5 million Africans. Did you know that? I don't know if you did or not. So that poem, I think, is very important, and I just wanted to, that's the message that I wanted to give today. You know, that's the main theme for my show. I'm just going to wrap it up by saying once again, just want to kind of recite that again, that it was, we first came for the socialists, so we could remix that. You know, in America, they came for it. Well, really, I guess you could argue, first they came for the Africans who were brought here in the transatlantic slave trade, 1619. But at the same time, they came for the indigenous people. They came for the Native Americans because this was their land. This is their land. This is their home. They were here, but they came for them, murdered them and put them on reservations and stole their land. But I was not I was not of African descent. I was not a Native American. Now we can just fast forward it. They're still coming for African Americans, but now they're coming for the gay and lesbian and bisexual and trans community. They're still coming for the Jewish community, anti-Semitism. They're coming for Asian Americans, all of this anti-Asian hate that we see. A lot of it that was stoked by, yeah, that dude, that blankety blank, you know, with his racist terminology when he talked about COVID-19. You know what he said. Called it the China virus and the Kung flu. How racist and how ignorant. Yeah, said it. A lot of this anti-Asian hate that we are seeing, we can lay at the feet of that orange demon. Yes, absolutely. So, you know what? We have to make sure that we are speaking out against hate, racism, white nationalism in any and every form when it affects black people, when it affects we African Americans, when it affects our Jewish brothers and sisters, when it affects our Asian American brothers and sisters, when it affects our gay and lesbian, and bisexual and trans community, when it affects our Muslim brothers and sisters, when it affects anybody. Because hatred, racism, and white nationalism and white supremacy against anybody is hatred and white supremacy and nationalism and bigotry against everybody. Remember, they may not have come for you first, but eventually they will get around to you. And when they do, who will be there to speak up and speak out and to protect you? So we are our brother and sister's keeper. Thank you for letting me be a part of your life as always. God bless each and every one of you. God, most of all, thank you for letting me do the Geno Jones Show daily, Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, right here in the beautiful Carolinas, Charleston, South Carolina, ladies and gentlemen. Beautiful place. When COVID is over, if you've never come, we're right on the ocean. We have several beautiful beaches. Food is fabulous. It's a great place to come and visit. You rent homes. We have Folly Beach. We have the Isle of Palms. We have beautiful beach homes and summer homes right on the ocean. Yeah. And the Chamber of Commerce is not paying me for this for this endorsement. Yo, y'all need to holler at your boy and send me a check for that free for that free advertising right there. That pitch, that free endorsement. But it is. As a matter of fact, speaking of supporting businesses, like I said, we are all about supporting black businesses. The Geno Jones Show brought to you today by Lockwood Outdoor Advertising, the only black-owned African-American outdoor advertising company here in the state of South Carolina. They do a great job. Huge beautiful outdoor digital billboard, converting cars to cash. LockwoodOutdoor.com, LockwoodOutdoor.com. Shout out to Rodney Lockwood and Raquel Paget. Check them out. Put your company's name, business, product, good, service up in lights. Attract and reach a whole new market, right? Do that. Shout out to Mr. Bruce Gage, the official wardrobe consultant for the Geno Jones Show. Check him out, Bruce Gage, G-A-G-E, Bruce Gage on Instagram. Also, flyballthestore.com. Check out, he's got a couple different businesses when it comes to clothing. He'll have you looking right, popping, he'll have you popping your collar, like Pam, like that. Also, shout out to Markel Bailey. He is the official barber and stylist for the Geno Jones Show. Check him out on Instagram, Kel B. Cuttin, K-E-L-B-E-C-U-T-T-I-N. Kel, what's up, man? I'm going to be hollering at you pretty soon. It's about that time to get in that chair. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, right? I want to thank everybody for watching once again. We really are our brother and sister's keeper, and just seeing this level, this spike in anti-Asian hate and violence, we as black people, we got to speak out about it. Now, I'll be honest. Yes, historically in America, unfortunately, there have been tensions between the black community and parts of the Asian community, especially, you know, in our inner city neighborhoods, we have Asian Americans, Koreans, Chinese. In a lot of cases, you look at the tension when it comes to businesses like your beauty supply stores. But unfortunately, sometimes it takes a tragedy, it takes a shared tragedy to really open people's eyes up, to realize that you have a whole lot more in common than you do apart. And this whole virus of white nationalism and white supremacy and racist bigotry and hate, like the federal government's report, all the intelligence agencies have said that racially and ethnically and white militia motivated violence is the most lethal, deadly threat domestically here in America. So it affects me as a black man. It affects the 6 Asian women, irregardless of what this dude said, that, well, you know, the reason I killed these 8 women and 6 Asian women was because that I have a sex addiction and that I was trying to eliminate the temptation. Bullshit. Yeah, that might be part of it. But how's it that out of 8 people you murdered, 6 were Asian? They just happen to be there? Come on. Game recognized game. I'm not buying that. But anyway, like I said, just wrapping up in closing, that we are our brother and sister's keeper. And hate and racism and bigotry and white nationalism, anti-Semitism, anti-Muslim hate, anti-immigrant hate, anti-religious bigotry, anti-Muslim hate and bigotry, hate and racism, misogyny, sexism, all that hate in any form is a threat to all of us. Today, 402 years, they've come for me, they came for us, came for Native Americans, and today they're still coming for us. They're still coming for the Jewish community. They're coming for the Asian American community. But eventually, they'll get around to you too, white America. As a matter of fact, oh, wait a minute, hold on. They did get around to white America collectively. It happened on January 6th when they stormed the U.S. Capitol. They stormed the U.S. Capitol and they were looking for the former Vice President Mike Pence to literally lynch him after building a gallows in front of the U.S. Capitol building and shouting, "Hang Mike Pence." And they were looking for the House Speaker, Nancy Pelosi, to kill her. It was a white woman talking about another white woman that said, I'm paraphrasing, it was not just I heard audio about a white woman. I saw her on video, and there was some white men also chanting, "Find a bee." And one person said, "Someone needs to put a bullet in her head." These are white people talking about a white woman. So my point is, just because they haven't come for you today, as my grandfather said, just keep living. That form of hate and violence and racism, it'll get around to you too, because it already has on January 6th. All right, everybody. We are all in this together. Whether we like it or not, we are. So we got to stick together. We got to look out for each other. We got to call it out. We got to stop it. We got to snitch on folks. We got to go ahead and say, drop a dime, see something, hear something, know something, say something. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching. I love you. I really do. I really love all my listeners, all my viewers, I should say, all my listeners on my radio show, all my viewers, all my new subscribers. Thank you so very much, Mother. I love you. Of course, you know I love you very much. My #1 fan. Thank you. I appreciate your support, everybody. And I appreciate each and every person's support that's watching the show. Tomorrow, Thursday edition of the Geno Jones Show right here, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. If you're watching it live now, go back and stream all my back episodes. Go back and binge watch. I've had some great shows. So until tomorrow, Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern, thank you for watching and be blessed.
Subscribe and tune in to the next episode of the Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube.